Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of I Am Legion for Dying Light 1 and 2. My name is Jason, the creator of the mod, and I'm here with another update. So it's been a series of very quiet updates for a little while now, and I haven't been recording many videos, I apologize. I have been focusing most of my efforts on trying to work on the unofficial dev tools while also continuing to push out updates for Dying Light 2 and also preparing for the upcoming The Beast, which is just around the corner. So there's been a lot of changes in the game. For those of you that haven't seen, there's been some changes to things like the stamina system, and so I've gone through and started to fix some of those changes, and namely the main focus for this update was a physics update. So I know it's been a little while since I worked on Physics Are Back, and it's been a little while since I've focused entirely on the physics system. So what I wanted to do was actually go back to Dying Light 1 and start to look through the ODE physics folder for the game and actually determine kind of what they changed between Dying Light 1 and Dying Light 2 to start to see, you know, why the systems behave as different as they do. And through that research, you know, a lot of the game just feels very different from Dying Light 1. I think, you know, all of us are aware of that one. And hopefully this upcoming Beast helps fix some of that. I've been watching some of the latest gameplay trailers, and I think I'm going to just hold off any assumptions until I actually get to play it. But I Am Legion will be coming to the Beast here once the game releases. And so for this update for Dying Light 2, let's focus in on some of those updates that I've changed. So the main focus here was to try to rebalance every weapon based on its physical attributes. So, you know, things like machetes versus the blunt weapons versus the firearms. So the firearms got completely redone. And so while you guys are seeing this glitch, this is what I discovered in the process of where I have placed different player outfits and stuff like that on the infected. They don't have the proper deform meshes built into the models, and so when you kill a model that has that, you can actually cause some pretty fun effects here. I am gonna, now that I'm aware of this, I don't think this was happening when I first created these models, but now that I'm aware of this, I am gonna have to go model by model and remove some of these models that have these player models. But anyway, so the focus here was going through each weapon and trying to identify the characteristics of each weapon that makes it unique, and also revamps the damage systems and then the physics and how those physics are interacting in the main game, and how I could bring Dying Light 1 into the game as much as possible. So where I started was actually working inside the physics folder and actually trying to bring over some of those physics steps and some of the calculations they were doing when they actually injured an enemy in Dying Light 1. I do think some of the underlying systems have changed, and so that wasn't as straightforward as, you know, modifying some values, as I'm sure as many of you have, you know, figured out as you've tried modding the game. But basically we were able to get some small wins, some small improvements as I went through the code, and I think the results of that are a system that feels much more responsive and feels much more alive with the enemies. So what I was able to do was actually rebalance a lot of the damage systems by the location on the body, and then also focus on, you know, trying to basically allow you to have as much fun as you want, taking down these enemies without directly killing them. So actually trying to focus on the dismember systems and focus on the physical effects that are happening inside the game. And so the result of that is a pretty good responsive system. I'm not entirely sold that it's, you know, a Dying Light 1 solution. I don't know if the physics can get one-to-one match to the systems, mainly because they changed the model system, so how the models respond and how the models work have changed between the two games, and so I'm not entirely sure that we'll ever be able to get back the full Dying Light 1 aesthetic that we were able to see in the first game. But going through here and just kind of focusing in on some of the specific changes, basically all of the weapons have now been set up in a way that if it had a blade, if it has a blunt edge, then it has a higher probability of breaking arms, slicing arms, and I did an actual overhaul where I went weapon by weapon and actually worked to dial this system in by every weapon using the unofficial dev tools. Through that process, I actually encountered an error where the NPCs were no longer able to get these weapons, and so I'm still trying to identify what kind of splits out that code to where it works for the player, but it doesn't work for the NPCs. And so because of that, for now, I have pulled the weapon overhaul to all the blades and all the different components out of the code for now, but I will be working on that again here shortly. Basically, what I'm trying to do is get to the point where the unofficial dev tools generate the output as I need it, so that as we go through updates, I'm not having to actually make any of the changes to the files themselves. I simply go through and execute it on the new updated code, and it comes out how I want. And so with these changes to the melee weapons and to the different bladed weapons, and all of the machete, or I apologize, the katanas and different sledgehammers and different big weapons, kind of the goal was again to focus on making sure that as they struck the enemies, that they did less of the splitting enemies in half if they were lightweight weapons and unable to physically slice through a person. They're actually focused more on doing the appropriate amount of damage and physical damage, kind of based on those different weapons and their actual visual attributes versus just their stats. And so it was a lot of work that went into it, a lot of effort. But like I said, I had to pull that out for now. But here in this, next coming updates, I'll try to get the full weapons overhaul into the work. But for now, I just wanted to get this physics update out to you guys so that you could start to experiment with it. Now, the firearms update has been released. So each one of the firearms, I went through and started playtesting with the firearms again for an upcoming event that I'm working on. Basically, the more I started to play with the firearms, the more, less I kind of wanted to. Where basically a lot of the systems were kind of set up to where, they would immediately, spawn enemies right behind you, and because of the limited ammo, you pretty much were, only able to get a couple of shots out, only to just spawn half the map on top of you. And so because of that, shooting a weapon didn't really make a lot of sense. It just kind of resulted in more trouble than it was worth. And so with the new balancing, I've tried to focus on, instead of spawning enemies directly on top of you, you can see that the whole map is now aware of where I'm located and is slowly starting to make its way towards my position. So firing a weapon in here will now, slowly bring down the map on you. It's just less of the virals that spawn on top of you noise that was in the original game. Also, the handling and the ranges and the damage for each of these weapons has been completely rebalanced, where a focus on locational damage has been added, where it will still, I didn't go so far as to say headshot only damage, while I did try to focus on, the bonuses of actually getting a headshot versus hitting something like a leg. So you can still, you know, shoot a torso, you can still shoot a leg, and it will eventually kill them. But you know, kind of the goal is to make it feel a little bit more aim for the head the best you can, instead of just mowing them down. So the pistol was probably my favorite reamp. I can actually see using the pistol now to clear streets. Also for, you know, obviously for farming, it's a big help to actually be able to gather all these guys up like this. But basically that system is set up to where it's going to use the same system as the Day Stalker and Night Stalker systems. And so it has the potential for shit to get real really quickly. And so it's not an always thing. It's not hard coded to say that, you know, things will always go the same way. It's meant to be more random. But these guys are able to spawn every now and then to make it feel like the world is actually listening to your noise and responding. And so next, let's move on to the SMG. So between the SMG and the rifle, the SMG is quick firepower at a medium range, while being able to, you know, inflict as much damage as possible quickly, and then getting out of there as quickly as possible as well. It was meant to have a little less kickback and to allow you to aim down and get those headshots very quickly, while also making the pistol feel like kind of the go-to solution for headshots, especially with the ammo that was available for this weapon. And so you can see here that the also all of the health and all of the damage to certain types of enemies have also been reamped, so that it gives you a little bit more of a challenge. But I've also additionally released a new module, which I'll talk about here in a second. Let me finish up with the weapons, and then we'll dive into the new module. So with the changes to the weapons, you can see that one of the challenges that I still run into is that basically they've hard-coded these interiors to be like this. I broke it at one point to allow these guys to wake up naturally. You can see that they did all wake up as soon as I stepped in there, and that's because they've hard-coded it to basically not activate that cell until you step in there. And like I said, I broke that code at one point on purpose so that you could have those enemies flowing outside the walls. I'll probably add that back, but it was adding some bugs to different quests and that kind of thing. Definitely upping the challenge that players were faced with. And so because of that, I've now tried to make it a little bit more quest friendly for now with some of the updates. And then I'll reintroduce some of those changes here again. So that's it for the SMG. Let's move on to the shotgun, and actually let's go to the rifle. So the rifle was really a focus on range and getting those long range headshots, while also still causing a good amount of noise. Ooh, I think that was volatile. And so, you know, basically the rifle, which again, depending on the ammo that you're finding inside the world, will be your go-to resource for sniping and for clearing streets from above kind of thing. While the shotgun is your up-close and personal defense system when clearing buildings. So say, for example, there was, and I'll test that bug live and we'll see if it's still a problem, but basically the reamp on all of these systems came from the fact that in the vanilla game, you can take a shotgun. Let me see if it's still true. I tried to balance this out to where this was no longer the case, but the weapons code is a little weird sometimes. But basically, you could stand up on a rooftop and use this thing like a sniper rifle. Dang. Still doing it. Let me go a little further away. That's better. So the range, nope. And the ranges have been adjusted to where it shouldn't be able to do this. It looks like it's not hitting him at all. And so basically the ranges prevent it from doing that. But even with the changes that I made in the code, it doesn't look like those are actually preventing that as much as I thought previously. That's a little better. Let's see. So kind of like aim for the head and you'll always get your kill kind of thing. So still working on rebalancing that out. I'm telling you, there's not enough values there to kind of tamper with to ensure that doesn't happen. There's something in the code that's allowing that to happen, and that's a shame. I thought I had balanced that one out, and so I was happy to share that one with you guys, but it looks like it might be back in. So when the weapons overhaul releases, I'll try to focus on bringing that out again, if possible. But this shotgun, the focus again, clearing streets, clearing buildings, is really to, try to take down as many enemies as possible very quickly. I've tried to improve the code to where, dismemberment and locational based damages are still a factor, but when they're up close and personal like that, this guy just lost both of his legs. He's still alive, so he's going to then crawl around and try to get me. But these damages are meant to be as realistic as possible with the systems that are available. And for example, it's sad with the virals. I tried to add the viral code to where if you blew their legs off, they would start crawling around. That works with my custom biters that are runners, but it does not work with the virals that are in the base game. And so I basically have to disable the code that will allow their legs to be destroyed, because if you destroy their legs, they'll stand back up with no legs and start chasing you again. Maybe I'll figure it out here in the future and make that a little bit more realistic, but for now I just had to remove that altogether. So let me go ahead and shift over to another save game really quick. That's all of the different weapons. Let me talk about the new modules. So the latest module that I've just released is the Levels Begone module. And the focus on that module is making sure that all of the tiers for leveling are flattened. So before where it would level up it would level up the weapons and level up the enemies as you played. You would see it on the heads-up display that, someone's a level 9 versus a level 1. Instead of scaling the health and scaling the damage, I've flattened all of that information so that you can easily go and modify that information and balance how you want to balance the game. And so I know a lot of you guys have come and asked about, can I do this with the mod config? And I ran into challenges with trying to modify these values inside that were like health, stamina, that kind of thing. For whatever reason, the engine seems to struggle when I change those specific values versus having just an easy access way for you guys to do it. And so what I've tried to do is design this new module, again, called Levels Begone. And what that's going to do is that when you install that in the launcher, it's going to go through and it'll create this data 3. And if you open this up with WinRare, WinZip, whatever 7-zip, you can go in here and you'll see these 2 scripts. These are generated by the unofficial DevTools. And if we go ahead and extract these, I like to extract them instead of just editing them. That way you can make sure that the changes are actually saved versus, if they don't stick. Sometimes if you hit save, they don't actually save based on how it zipped up the archive. But when you open this up, you'll now see at the top, there are now these little sub categories that each one of these has the different damages for each one of the weapons. So if you're trying to very quickly go in and balance out the bow and arrows, say you want to make the bow do more damage, physical damage to the enemies, you can go in here and just increase the range damage, and it will immediately make that change in the game. Same for like the health definitions. If you want to go in here and change the biter health to where they have more health from the start, if you open this up, you'll now see the biter base sub, and in here you see the health is 50 to 125. Basically that means that when it spawns each biter, it has the opportunity or the chance to spawn them with 50 to 125 health, and then sometimes to not spawn them with full health. It'll leave a little chunk of their life missing, make them look like they already have damage applied. I like that feature, and so if you want to go in here and boost their health, say for example you don't like how quickly biters die and you actually want to be able to chop them up and inflict as much damage as possible before actually killing them, you can go in here and just easily add like a 1 and maybe like a 2, and that will drastically increase the health for every biter as they spawn. You can just save this file and then load it back into the data 3 by dragging it back in. And that's it. And so that's how you can go in if you want to balance out the virals or the volatiles or, you know, whatever you want to balance. It's right there, easy to access, easy to modify. And again, that's the levels begone module, easy to install through the launcher. You should see it now under the modules section. And let me know your guys' feedback. I've tried to make a first pass at designing that system I'm using it right now, to be fairly realistic and keep the appropriate amount of damage as you play, so that no matter what level you still have to contend with the biters. I don't really like, you know, how they become kind of one shot only kind of enemies. And so because of that, you should be able to now enjoy having to contend with the horde at whatever level you're playing at. So I'll go ahead and show you guys a couple more weapons here. So like the hammers, as you continue to upgrade the hammers. Oop, I don't know how that missed him. My favorite is that, let's get a few shots off really quick. You'll see the new, I set the code up to where basically they can ragdoll the enemies that are dead on the ground. So, oh, and please, as a side note, please let me know how the performance goes on your guys' system. My system's a little bit higher specs than most because of my game development stuff. And so please let me know if you're experiencing a lot of frame loss and you're not able to balance it out. I will create kind of a low performance version of this so that you can balance that out however you need. I might be able to hook some of it up to the mod config, but I doubt it. I'm sure all of that is loaded at the start of the engine, and it's probably similar to the health and the stamina. So now that we've brought in a good amount, let's go ahead and show you guys the new Ragdoll system here. Go ahead and mow down a good group. And if we aim low, we can actually, my lanky, reference to Donkey Kong 64 for anybody who used to play that one. But you can see there's actually a lot of guys that are down in this pile, so where their legs have gotten blown off, they're actually still alive in there. And so this becomes kind of a dangerous pit. Actually go in here and fight with them. But after a while, the physics, you can see here, the physics stopped with him. Oh, there we go. It reactivated. So it just kind of stopped with him midair. I'm also going to have to pull out the lab coat guy. The lab coats do not do well. And also you can see that there's some physics challenges where, you know, you'll occasionally get it where they just blast away for whatever reason. That's really common in physics games where it just doesn't respond well to a physics collision and just kind of blasts apart for whatever reason. But yeah, so you can see this is, you know, it's getting there. It's a lot better than I was enjoying it before, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys are all doing well. The world's getting crazy out there. I hope everybody is staying safe and having some fun times. Make sure to join the Discord server if you haven't yet. Come let me know what you're playing these days. Let me know how you're doing. And I look forward to catching up with you guys on the Discord. Sorry for my long-term absence. I've been working on a lot of different things and kind of keeping my head down, trying to keep the sanity levels up these days. But I look forward to hearing you guys, or hearing how you guys like the Beast, and look forward to hearing your guys' feedback on the latest version of I Am Legion when that comes out. But take care, guys. I'll catch you next time. Happy gaming, and stay safe.